Nice that you are watching this video. We are going about the album Reputation of Taylor Swift. On August 18, 2017, Swift blanked out all of her social media accounts, which prompted media speculation on new music. In the following days, she uploaded silent short videos of CGI snakes onto social media, which attracted widespread press attention. Imagery of snakes was inspired by the West Kardashian controversy and featured prominently in the album's promotional campaign. On August 23, she announced on Instagram the title Reputation and released the cover artwork, photographed by Mert and Marcus. The cover is a black and white photograph of an expressionless Swift in slicked back hair, a loose-fitting grey sweatshirt with a zigzag stitch on the right shoulder, and a choker necklace. Her name is printed multiple times over one side of her face, in a typeface resembling that used in newspapers. Media outlets interpreted the design as a mockery at the media scrutiny. The cover inspired many internet memes, and was listed among the worst album covers of 2017 by Billboard and Exclaim. The latter dismissed it as a packaging for a sickly sweet, heavily discounted celebrity fragrance you'd find on the back shelf at Shoppers Drug Mart. Reputation's lead single, Look What You Made Me Do, was released on August 24. The single peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in just its second week of charting, with the biggest single-week sales and streaming figures of 2017 in the United States, and was Swift's first number 1 on the UK singles chart. Its music video broke the record for the most 24-hour views on YouTube. Shortly after the single's release, UPS announced a partnership with Swift, which included Reputation-branded trucks and award-winning contests promoting the album across U.S. cities. Other corporate tie-ins were a Ticketmaster partnership for a concert tour, an AT&T deal for a behind-the-scenes series chronicling the making of Reputation, and a Target partnership for 2 deluxe album editions, each featuring an exclusive magazine with poetry, paintings, handwritten lyrics, and behind-the-scenes photography. Swift collaborated with ESPN to preview the second single, Ready for It, during a college football match on September 2. It opened at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. Kate Nibbs of The Ringer labeled the partnerships as maximum commercialization, and wrote, "If was going to be a snake, she was going to be an ultra-capitalist snake." Prior to the album's release, the tracks, Gorgeous, and Call It What You Want, were released for download and streaming as promotional singles. And the track, New Year's Day, premiered during the broadcast of an episode of ABC's Scandal. Reputation was released in various territories on digital and physical formats on November 10, 2017. By Big Machine Records. Although the streaming provider Spotify initially promoted Reputation on its playlists and commercial billboards, Swift and Big Machine kept the album off streaming platforms until December 1. Throughout late 2017 and early 2018, a string of singles were released to support the album. Endgame was released to French radio by Mercury Records on November 14. New Year's Day impacted U.S. country radio on November 27, and Delicate was released to U.S. pop radio on March 12. The last of which was the album's most successful radio single, peaking atop 3 Billboard airplay charts: pop songs, adult pop songs, and adult contemporary. Although Swift had actively promoted albums with extensive press interviews and television appearances, she opted out of such a campaign for Reputation. She instead held exclusive secret album listening sessions within 1 month in advance for fans selected from social media by herself, hosting them at her homes in Rhode Island, Los Angeles, London, and Nashville. The secret sessions were reserved for 500 fans in total, Behind-the-scenes footage was released on Good Morning America on November 7, 2017. She appeared on the cover for British Vogue, for which she appointed her own photographers and published a self-written poem instead of giving an interview. In an interview with Zane Lowe for Apple Music in May 2019, Swift said she turned down interviews because she felt no need to explain the album and used music as the only medium to convey her thoughts and feelings. On the title's all-lowercase styling, she said it was because the album wasn't unapologetically commercial, that it took the most amount of explanation, and yet it's the one didn't talk about. Within Reputation's first release week, Swift performed on Saturday Night Live, Ready for It, Call It What You Want, and The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, New Year's Day. She embarked on the Reputation Stadium Tour, which kicked off on May 8, 2018, in Glendale, Arizona, and featured supporting acts such as Charli XCX and Camila Cabello. The tour's visual and stage settings incorporated prominent snakes imagery. It encompassed 53 shows across 4 continents and wrapped up on November 21, 2018, in Tokyo, Japan. The track, Getaway Car, was released as an Australasia-exclusive single to support the oceanic leg of the Reputation Tour in October and November. On completion of its 38-show North American leg, with $266.1 million grossed, it surpassed the Rolling Stones' 70-show U.S. leg of their A Bigger Bang tour, $245 million, 2005 to 2007, to become the all-time highest-grossing North American tour. In total, the Reputation Stadium Tour grossed $345.7 million, according to Billboard Box Score. The second show at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, was recorded and released as a Netflix exclusive on December 31, 2018. Reputation sold 2 million copies worldwide within 1 week of release. In the United States, the album sold roughly 700,000 copies after 1 day of availability, and 1.05 million after 4 days. It opened at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with first-week figures of 1,238,000 album equivalent units that consisted of 1,216,000 pure sales, more than any other albums on the chart that week combined. With the achievement, Reputation made Swift the first artist to have 4 albums each sell more than 1 million copies within 1 week since Nielsen SoundScan began tracking sales in 1991. The album spent 4 non-consecutive weeks at number 1, was 2017's best-selling album in the United States, and topped the 2018 Billboard 200 year-end chart. By June 2024, the album had spent 300 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. The Recording Industry Association of America in December 2017 certified the album 3 times platinum for surpassing 3 million album equivalent units. By January 2024, Reputation's U.S. sales stood at 2.478 million. According to the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, Reputation was the world's second best-selling album of 2017, with 4.5 million copies sold. It topped the album's charts in many European territories including Austria, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Slovakia, Spain, and Switzerland. The album was certified platinum in Austria, Belgium, and Sweden, and double platinum in Denmark and Poland. In the wider, English-speaking world, it reached number 1 on the album's charts of Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Canada. The record was certified multi-platinum in the first 3 countries, triple platinum in the United Kingdom and 5 times platinum in both Australia and New Zealand. In Asia Pacific, Reputation was certified platinum in Singapore and gold in Japan and Portugal. And it became one of the best-selling digital albums in China with 1 million copies sold as of September 2019. Upon its release, Reputation received generally positive reviews from music critics. At Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream publications, the album received a weighted average score of 71 based on 28 reviews. Many critics praised Swift's personal lyricism and songwriting depicting vulnerability and intimacy despite the first impressions of a vindictive record. Reviews by Slant Magazine's Sal Cinquemani, McCormick, and Sheffield appreciated Reputation for exploring vulnerable sentiments beneath the surface of fame and celebrity. Petrodis found the celebrity-inspired, dramatic themes tiring, but lauded the album as a masterclass in pop songwriting, about love and romance. The Independent's Ryan O'Connor and Vulture's Craig Jenkins both regarded Reputation as a showcase of Swift's both vindictive and vulnerable sides. The former lauded it for displaying Swift's talents capturing emotional details that you as a listener cannot. In the AV Club, Clayton Purdom appreciated how, despite Swift's embrace of modern styles, her lyrical narrative retains its distinctive romantic nature since her 2008 single, Love Story. The production received mixed reviews. In an outright negative review, Jeff Nelson of Consequence gave the album a D+ rating and called it a bloated, moving disaster. For Nelson, the album found Swift adopting black music styles and African American vernacular English, a reflection of a wider cultural problem. Some reviewers agreed that Reputation's black music influences were controversial and a probable case of cultural appropriation. But Caramanica welcomed them as a sign of Swift embracing modern pop music trends. Cinquemani called it a good pop album but found it blemished at times by tired, repetitive EDM tricks. And Pitchfork's Jamieson Cox lamented how Swift's lyrical craftsmanship was overshadowed by what he deemed a conventional and unoriginal production. The Boston Globe's Terence Corley and Billboard's Jason Lipschutz identified some stylistic missteps, but said the experiments were worthwhile and made an enjoyable listen. The Associated Press's Meskin Fekade and Variety's Chris Willman hailed Reputation as an outstanding pop album. The latter lauded the balance between Swift's singer-songwriter lyrical strengths and the up-to-the-second rhythmic pop of mainstream music. Reputation featured on several publications' lists of the best albums of 2017, ranking on such lists by Time, 5th, Rolling Stone, 7th, Slant Magazine, 17th, The Independent, 19. Complex, 26th, NME, 31st, and Spin, 48th. On the Mass Critics poll Paz and Jop coordinated by The Village Voice, the album ranked at number 71 out of the 100 albums voted as the best of 2017. On individual critics' lists, it appeared on those by Sheffield, 2nd, Caramanica, 5th, and Michael Wood of the Los Angeles Times, unranked. On Slant Magazine's list of the best 2010s decade album published in 2019, Reputation ranked at number 88. At industry awards held in 2018, the album won an American Music Award for Favorite Pop, Rock Album, a Billboard Music Award for Top Selling Album, a Libera Award for Independent Impact Album, and a Japan Gold Disc Award for Best 3 Albums, Western. It received nominations including an ARIA Music Award nomination for Best International Artist, a Billboard Music Award nomination for Top Billboard 200 Album, and a Juno Award nomination for International Album of the Year. At the 61st Annual Grammy Awards, Reputation was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album, with several publications viewing the lack of a nomination for Album of the Year or any other category as being a snub. The album's packaging and design won 2 awards from the American Advertising Federation. Released amidst negative press, Reputation was regarded by several journalists as her comeback. Some critics interpreted the release during the Donald Trump presidency as a political statement, whereas many celebrities voiced their opposition to Trump's controversial policies. Swift's inaction during the 2016 presidential election was highlighted in the press as a shocking phenomenon. Detractors denounced her as aloof and tone-deaf to contemporary political landscape, with a Guardian editorial dubbing her an envoy for Trump's values. The Guardian's Laura Snapes observed Swift's silence, coupled with the celebrity controversies, considerably damaged her status as a peerless pop princess. Her inclusion as one of the Silence Breakers, a group of 6 women who publicly spoke out against sexual misconduct, for the cover of Time 2017's People of the Year was criticized by some who disdained her spineless feminism and political passivity. Some others regarded Reputation as Swift's first commercial disappointment, partly because of its diminished success next to its predecessor, 1989. In defense of Swift, the academic and journalist Jane Martinson said that Swift's disengagement from the press represented her efforts to control the narrative and was an empowering move for young women. Other opinions observed how the public backlash during promotion of Reputation contributed to Swift's political engagements after 2018. She publicly endorsed political candidates, supported LGBT rights, and criticized systemic racism. The promotional campaign of Reputation, specifically Swift's use of social media, was subject of an academic paper analyzing popular music marketing by Linda Ryan Bengtson and Jessica Edlam, 2 media and communications scholars. They argued that Reputation was the most adequate release in terms of marketing, driven by fan-oriented social media promotion and Swift's long-standing relationship with her supporters. Her social media blackout set a precedent for other pop stars to emulate. Commenting on the album's rollout cycle, the music scholar J.D. O'Regan remarked how Swift used the art of pop in the best way for utilizing the way she's been stereotyped in popular culture. The film director Jennifer Katin Robinson cited Reputation as an inspiration for her 2022 teen comedy film De Revenge. Critics have regarded Reputation as an album that stood the test of time. Billboard's Andrew Unterberger in August 2019 wrote, "With a couple years' clarity, removed from all the backlash against Swift for her perceived insincerity and political neutrality, we can now look back on Reputation for what it actually was, a very good pop album that was very successful." Mary Siroki of Consequence observed how time proved it to be an authentic record, contrary to some initial reviews claiming otherwise, and, as part of a 2022 piece titled, "What Were We Thinking? 15 Times We Were Wrong," opined that the publication's initial review was influenced by Swift's negative press, and its score should have been higher. Powers in 2024 described Reputation as an album, once scorned, now revered. Joe Lynch of Billboard attributed the initial criticism to the general preconception disregarding lyrics in synthesizer-based arrangements, which is a shame, because on Reputation, Swift's words deliver vivid Polaroid shots directly to your brain. Rolling Stone's Cara Vaught said the album was Swift's first to truly be in conversation with its pop contemporaries, and identified some of its songs as her artistic heights. For some critics, though Reputation is not as accomplished as Swift's other albums, its hip-hop experimentation and detail-heavy songwriting led to her refined craftsmanship on subsequent records, namely Folklore, 2020, Evermore, 2020, and Midnights, 2022. This was the video. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.